Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions, to this holy light, the light of divine nature, infinite being, all that is, all that's given by the Father, light. To start with the power of the light, no greater power than this. And to see in honesty of God that there really, in the light of divine being, that there is nothing to fear. And that desire for other creates the experience of fear. And that fear can only appear if there's a desire for that experience within consciousness. And it feels like Jesus is just having, as for me, I see that to look at any kind of beliefs or desires for the experience of fear. And he says in this beautiful lesson yesterday, it's but myself that I crucify, and remind, was such a great reminder that if there's full acceptance, every cell and every, however you would put it, squarence of the expression, of the acceptance that it is but myself that I crucify, and that grace, I can only accept grace, we can only accept grace for ourselves. To cease to deny grace, that in that, fear cannot be. In the light of divine being, if it is accepted that we but crucify ourselves, that thought of God that's given by the Holy One, if that's accepted fully, can pain exist in our direct experience as light beings? Because denial of light is to make another that would crucify us, when it's but to crucify ourselves. It feels helpful today with the thoughts that have been coming up around Christ control. The ego doesn't like that sound. So it feels helpful to really be with Jesus and have him retranslate a couple of words that are very frequently talked about. And I can see there would be conceptual ideas around Christ control, what Christ control is, miracle impulses, and the atonement. So it really feels good to be with Jesus and ask him to show us, just wipe the slate on any of those concepts, like not even have an idea what that is. That's what I saw. Like I was talking today, it's like, Jesus, I don't even know what a miracle is. Do not know what a miracle is. How to perform one, which miracles to perform, and just like wipe the slate clean. Like, I don't care, 10 years with a course, 20 years, whatever it's been, and just say, I do not, there's just no way to know what that is. And you tell me from scratch. And he says, that's a good place to start. Because I can see even the concept, oh, I need a miracle here. He said, no, what you need is to ask me, do I perform a miracle here? That's the fastest means. You say, Jesus, there's something, do I perform? What are the miracles I'm to perform? He's like reminding me to ask him what miracles. Okay. I not even know what miracles are, because I can see that in the conceptualization of the way the world is conceived, the tendency to have a miracle defined as something that happens in form that we like. Look, it's a miracle. Look, he raised people from the dead. Look, that's the miracle. That is not the miracle. The point of a miracle comes from beyond form, and it's the change in mind. And he's the one who has to tell us, we can ask, look, I'm feeling, to show us so clearly. Otherwise, we'll conceptualize the ego will be involved in what a miracle is and take it sideways. And then we'll work on it for a couple hours. It's like, Jesus, show me the fastest way to experience this change of mind. Oh, he says, go to infinite light, put it in the light, done. Except cease to deny that it's immediate, first of all. He says, come to me, cease to deny this is all for me. Because I don't want to know. I don't even know what a miracle is, really. I don't want to know. Because he's saying, this is happiness. And miracles are involuntary. They're the natural order. But since we've forgotten the involuntary nature of miracles, and the ego likes to control everything, even try to control what a miracle is, that's why we have to give it over to the to show us what is that. Because he's been talking about from the Earth text, which I keeps directing me. I said, what would you like to go read the Earth? So I go over there and read the Earth text about miracle impulses. He's showing, this feels really good to have a nice deep talk with Jesus about miracle impulses, to have him show us, infinite love in that. They're expressions of love. That's what it's an expression of love rising out of the subconscious mind to bloom like a flower. And what happens is consciousness goes sideways with it to divert, especially through sexuality. Is such a good example because it's a strong pull. That's why it says it's a misappropriation of the divine expression of love. Just it is, and what the ego does is make it about a horizontal movement. Oh, it's an attraction to that being right there. So that's why we need to have the light, infinite light, teach us what a miracle truly is and what a miracle impulse is. The miracle impulse is divine expression, and then it gets denied sideways. Anything but that miracle expression. Anything but that, so I can deny that I'm light. And that's why we need that retraining from the light to retrain us to untrain the sideways expression and keep going up to say, okay, is this, help me quick, really fast, as these urges, the urge. So instead of expression, divine expression of all that is, it becomes the urge to try to get something in form. I need to get some, even the miracle. I want a miracle. Now, we're more mind trained than in the past. We can see there were times when we would pray for a car. I want that miracle. I want a car with a blue collar. That's the kind of miracle when we first start out, which he says in Song of Prayer. That's just where the mind is. But the mind's, we've moved beyond that. Show me is the best prayer of all. Until we see that we don't need to be praying, because divinity just celebrates. And so the celebration is the prayer. Like the crickets singing for no reason whatsoever. But in the meantime, when we're singing the song of sideways, in the light of divine being, Jesus, show us what a miracle is really. No ideas, go naked. Infinite happiness, that's what it is. So it's just, Jesus, show me what a miracle is. Full on natural inheritance. Everything is given by the Father exactly as it is. We're the miracle. So we have this little chain. He says this unending chain, unceasing chain of little miracles, which is the change in perception, to see that we're the miracle. And that miracles are naturals, and they don't need to be under conscious control because they're given consciousness, they're beyond consciousness. They're coming from beyond consciousness. They're coming from all that is because it's our natural birthright. So we start out kind of being miracle-minded until we're under Christ's control. And Christ's control, that's the full acceptance of saying, Jesus, it's yours, baby, drive this car. And then the miracle, that the miracles are not in form, they're expression of divinity. That's because I couldn't understand it. What Jesus, what's miracles? And he's talking about miracles at all levels. Miracles at the beginning are forgiveness. To see the untrue, what's untrue is false. The denial of divinity, to see the denial of divinity as false. Jesus, show me another way to see this. Show me another way, and another way, and another way. All the denials, so the slate gets wiped clean, and then you move into miracle-mindedness. They're always looking for the change in perception. How am I perceiving wrong? And finally, it's Jesus, take the wheel. That's Christ consciousness. Completely. Jesus, I don't want to have a thought about anything. So he builds that relationship until you see that only Jesus. The only third worth it is that voice for God throughout the day. Take over. And then miracles are what is divine expression. So there's no longer the denial that the divine expression is miracle, the expression of all that is. That was then the lesson. That's the Jesus talk for today for me. Infinite life, and it's pointing right at the power of divine being. Let's ask him to show us naked. In the light of divine being, is atonement necessary? So that's revelation. Revelation is that we recognize that atonement's not necessary. Who would it be for? Yet we see we're not at perfect peace. We can see the peace is here now, because we can see we're divine infinite beings. Right? Can we see that there's something here that's infinite? It's good to look at that every day. That's just like, whoa. Just to get used to it, to see that it's not going to bite us. This infinite life, because that's the plan of the ego, to feel like we're going to get bitten by infinite life. So we start with infinite light first, check in there, see how it's doing. Still infinite? Still there? Did it go anywhere since yesterday? Because that's the belief of the ego. The ego's there to make it seem like infinite light's going to hide under the covers and we have to go looking for it somewhere. So we're getting used to again saying, okay, there's infinite light here. Now, Jesus, show me why I am denying that I'm that. And we can see in infinite light, does infinite light need to be forgiven for anything? Infinite going around going, I need to be forgiven. Is Jesus in infinite light? Does it say you need to be? He's going to say yes. Yes, you need forgiveness. Even though you can see that you're light, the revelatory experience that all there is light, you need forgiveness. You need miracles to interlock and to collapse the time space of pushing consciousness, pushing out of its awareness, its divine, this light. Its favorite pastime in consciousness is to say, light ain't here. That is the favorite pastime of consciousness. The subconscious mind, we don't have all that, doesn't matter. So am I feeling like infinite light today? No. Help me, Jesus. The immediate signal, show me what to do here, quick. And he'll say, stop denying who you are first. That's the first thing, is the light. So yes. Does that all need to be? Yes. I need to. But we probably won't, because we're going to dabble and pretend like The voice for God is sending us straight to hell. So we check in again. Well, it's the only way it can happen. The only way. So let's just check in. Is the voice for God in divine light benevolent in our direct experience? And is the voice for God, is it possible for every being to hear the voice for God and clearly? I might say, no, sorry, for you. That's why it's helpful to keep checking it. Will that voice, so it's only if it's not heard 100%, because we can hear it, the way we can hear it, because every time we check in on this light, has the light ever told you, anytime we've checked in, has it ever said you are not infinite? And is the light here, is it infinite in our direct experiences light beings? Is there something here that's infinite? The fourth thought, what's the fourth thought? Is that limited? Whatever that is. It's okay to say it's not me yet. But is there something here? Because soon you won't accept that it's not you. Jesus said you'll demand. You'll see the infinite power. So at first it's kind of like, oh, okay, there's something here. And like I love Muji because he says, you have no idea what you found. And he was darn right. Infinite light. All there is, it's but. And then it's but, no, as soon as I walk out of the room or down the street, it's not here. It's just a habit of saying it's not here. And the habit of not listening to the voice for God that comes as the light. The same voice that's saying, there's only one voice that can tell you you're infinite, that something here is infinite. Because does the ego and the light of divine being, the ego in there going, he can't tell you you're infinite. The finite cannot tell you that you're infinite. Can a finite thing recognize infinity? This is why it's insane. So we have a finite element telling us what God is. How's that going to work? How can the ego tell us what God is? Is the ego finite in our direct experience? Is the light being? It's a desire for experience of finite. We call it stuffing ourselves in a shoebox. Taking infinite being, and going, I'm going to squeeze your, I want an experience of feeling like compressed. And then I'm going to pretend I really like it. And then I'm going to pretend as part of that liking it that I don't like it. And I'm going to try to have an experience of pleasure so I can try to escape all the pain that I'm feeling being stuffed in a shoe. You know, and we all know it because we all have had it where we have a pair of shoes or some coat in our closet, that thing does not fit anymore. And we just like hang on to that baby. Like as long as we can hang on to it and tell ourselves, look, I'm going to lose 10 pounds and I'm going to fit in that much. And we know it doesn't work. We are funny as heck, girl. You're adorable. That's why God loves us so much, because we're so adorable. So, we need that Christ. We need our own light, the light within. Light, pure light, the one that remembers, the part of us, the one that's given us the answer is, can what's here, infinite light, die? That voice. And something knows, some part of us knows we cannot die. We know it's a play in consciousness. Then we have to look at all the denials that we invested in to have an experience like we can't freaking wake up. Jesus, is there envious desire below my awareness? I love looking at that, just making sure it's that clay is clean. You have an experience where it's difficult to see that I am divine light, but please show it to me quick. And he will. You can see it, all the beliefs in, and if you haven't gone through every single belief in the videos, I mean, we'll probably go through it again because it's helpful. I'm happy to go through it as many times until I hear for each one of those desires that he points to in the Jesus and New Covenant, and just talk to him about every one and say, okay, is this your Jesus? And he'll be like, he'd say to me, yes, you still believe the same one. So look at it and go through the videos. Again, as many times as it takes, because it will help develop that relationship with infinite, with Jesus, the voice for God. Because he's promising, if we ask him, he will have a conversation with us about everything. And then it becomes so natural, you're talking to him all day, basically. The question is, will we follow? That's the willingness. And it feels like big willingness at first. That's why it gets easier and easier the more the desires to deny are cleared. And you see what we're saying no to, you start saying, holy crap, I'm saying no to everything. When I say no to the Holy Spirit, I'm sentencing myself to a prolonged death sentence. Every time I say no to what that light voice, it's like, okay, is there something here that does not know time, that's beyond time? In the light of divine being, is there something here beyond time? You can see this. Just you almost take off like in a spaceship. It's like, wow, whoa. At first, because the ego's going, holy shit, don't look at this too long. Well, it's true. I can only speak for myself. I don't want to hang out here too much. And then the thoughts come in like a deluge, the thought fire. Let's ignore all that. That's just ridiculous. That is, and then just say, okay, what's the desire here to deny myself with all these thoughts, Even if the thoughts come, 1,000 spaceships, I say, watch into darkness, no. Which one is it where they have that swarm come? That's excellent. Beyond, Star Trek Beyond, or something like that. But any of those movies, like Gravity's a good one too. Like where you got just hurtling, they're out in space and they're fixing the space station. I don't know if y'all seen this one. And they get this notice, okay? Watch out. Satellite blew up and it's coming at you at 50,000 miles an hour, 1,000 debris. And that is exactly like it feels like, at least here, when those thoughts were flying like shrapnel. And that is good for practicing staying with Jesus, divine light, infinite being, when the shrapnel comes. I'm asking, is that, yes, he says that's necessary. Because we're so used to throwing shrapnel at ourselves. To deny divine life, he says that is helpful and necessary. Because it's us stepping into our divine power not to believe our own delusion. But he'll be there to help us. That's really the light training. Go to the light, shrapnel's coming. Is the light still here? Shrapnel's coming. Is the light still here? As many times as we have to ask it to remind ourselves the light is still here. Those are all it's like the residual, I don't know where they come from, the residual desire to deny divinity and then play in the shrapnel. I'm being attacked, help me. Let's look at the desire for the experience of shrapnel. Jesus, is there any desire below my level for thought shrapnel? And again, okay, so it's coming back to Christ conscious, Christ control. As the desires clear out and we see what we've been denying, infinite light, more and more is just, okay, I just drive the car. Because the divine light, infinite light, knows how to drive and we don't know jack. That's what finally got it. I thought it did, but it's too heavy. No, thank you. Here you go. Bow to our big brother. Jesus, take the wheel. They ain't kidding on that song. A full-time, give him a full-time job. Oh, here it is. You can have it. More and more. Go into that light. You can have it, Jesus. But that's why it's really, I can see the helpfulness here. That's all I can say is that direct looking it just cleans a lot of closets out. Okay, oh, I have that belief, very interesting. Okay, Jesus, I want to see that one, that desire for experience, that desire. It's so direct and it's so unsparing and it's so fast. To not know anything. And to cease, deny the miracle, diverting miracle impulse, all that's given by the Father. Because we don't even see, that's what I'm realizing, I don't even see, I'm realizing where the diversions are without his help. Am I diverting there, Jesus? It says yes or no. You know, so we're always standing straight up in our divine expression as it is, whole and complete. And sometimes he says, you know, at least here, he's saying, okay, you're in function. You have a function that's a sign that's divine expression. We don't even know what that is. That's what I wrote. I don't have a clue what divine expression is. It's like a whole relearning divine expression because we made the consciousness to make us forget what divine expression is. So it's like now it's like, geez, I have no clue. Tell me. I see how helpful that is. And he says, okay, this is function. No, that's not function. And for a time, it's helpful to ask him every single thing. At first, the mind won't take it. It'll just go, you know, move it. We're so used to kicking our butts out of heaven, you know. We were talking, it was really helpful, you know, I mentioned this. Because Muji would say, says this beautiful thing about, look, when the thoughts come, you stay on the platform like a train moving by. The shrapnels come and stay on the platform and see who the one is creating the train and all the thoughts and everything. See who that one is. And that is really helpful. And what's really helpful is to ask Jesus, okay, what desire is creating this urge to try to jump on that train? You can feel that itch, you know? The itch, I want to follow those thoughts. I want to get on board that story and ride it like a horse. You know that, I mean, now that we're the mind trains here, you know, it gets easier because we don't get wound into the story. That's a great chapter, that chapter on the story. It's like it's like, oh Jesus, I do want that story about me and something happened to me. As we wind back into the deeper with Jesus, and he's bringing us, and we just ask Jesus, what do I need to see? And we spend all this time with him, having to show us those energies of that itch, jump that thought train and follow that little me bus, little me bus story off. And he says, okay, Jesus, now show me the energetic wanting of that. So instead of going sideways, because it's the miracle impulse rising up, and we're so used to taking it sideways, it's like, show me that desire to go, you know, divert it so that energetic doesn't go sideways, it goes. So it's not the suppression or the diversion of that miracle impulse. I'm asking him, check yes. He says yes. That's where the miracle impulse meets the revelatory recognition. Blows out that me. Me. What's his name again?
Agent,
whatever. Me.
Smith? Maybe?
Smith. I love that post, who put that up, where he said he's starting the miracles. He's starting a course in miracles. I think I talked about this before, so for me to talk about it, remind me. We cannot fight the ego. You know, I'm getting ready to battle that ego. That's immediate. That's the ego battling itself. We're not doing battle with it. We're seeing that it's untrue. The fastest means is to see, is this true? In the light of divine being, is this true? Jesus goes direct to heaven. Miracles. That was a surprise to me when he said miracles come from the subconscious mind. Miracle impulses. I thought the subconscious mind is something. No, he's saying nothing's horrific. It's the denial of the impulse out of the subconscious mind. Then we feel guilty because we're not expressing, or we feel depressed because we're not fully expressing as divine being. It's diversion of all that is. The way of the recognition and the celebration and totality through divine expression. So that's all the atonement is, actually, Jesus is saying. It's just a full no ceasing to let those miracle impulses express in their divinity and totality. Cease to go through habit, take the side ride, the side diversion into descent into guilt and hell. And have this recognition of the divine light that's here, that we come to celebrate infinite light. Be only that. And say yes to that. Yes to peace. And see all the places Jesus delivers them in spades. He has here, and I'm grateful for it. Because we have asked to see every single, no twigs, every single denial of light. Because there just isn't spaciousness not to be the miracle. I'm entitled, when we start seeing what I am entitled to miracles means, we don't want to do anything but follow that light. That just becomes, I'm denying myself everything for nothing. Like he says, we're following nothing. Infinite light. And we traded in for a shoebox. It's so profound. I keep seeing this, so it's for me to see. The only purpose, I love that text again. The only purpose for the body is to see that, to see that it's nothing. I don't remember exactly the quote, but basically, see that it's nothing. It has no function. That's the only purpose of having a body. In its purposefulness. And in the light of divine being, we can see there isn't a body. So it must fulfill, in order for this to happen, Jesus has given me it must be in full function in divine light. Fully following, full exception, without exception, divine light. In service to divine light. And that's where the willingness is so helpful. Because we have to transcend, we have to be willing to be open enough to transcend the idea we think we are. And have that give our own light a little crack to slip in there past the denials so we can see what we're denying. And then admit what we're denying. And then decide that we no longer want to choose to deny everything for nothing. That's the atonement. To accept merely what we already are. That's really what we have to ask. Are we willing to see that there's no death? Admit it. Are we willing to admit that the Christ control is all there is? The will of the Father is all there is, because we can see this in the divine light, so we know it's there. We know there's only the will of God. And the light of divine being is there only the will of God. Without Christ's control, it is the wheel of samsara. I'm just checking in with you, yes. That's the wheel of samsara, the denial of Christ, Christ's control. See what goes, oh God, control. It's the Borg. It's the Borg coming. That's why he's telling us look directly to see, is the light a Borg? If the light is already here. Is the light benevolent? It's not benevolent. It's not anything other than benevolence. It's the idea we have of ourselves that we've made to make the light a brutal monster coming to get us, in which we can fear, in which we can pretend that it's not ourselves we crucify. Crucifixion is non-acceptance of Christ's control. Yes, Jesus says yes. That's for me. Thank you for this, Jesus, helping to make this so clear about atonement. What to make it so clear what's really being given up here. Nothing. Suffering. Self-imposed hell. Through desire. How is that arising from consciousness? I guess I really don't know. Because it's all untrue and a dream, and I can see how we will just forget all of this. There isn't. It's a dream, like we've had many dreams before, and we wake up from them, and we're not thinking about them now. They will just evaporate. All of this evaporates in lifetime being, because the light doesn't have a memory. There's no peace without the light. We can ask the divine light that. In the light of infinite being, is there peace without infinite light? Is there any peace without admitting that we're crucifying ourselves and hear the light tell us? We're hanging ourselves on the cross. Is there any peace without sustained peace without pure Christ control? In the light of divine being. Is there divine expression without miracle impulses? In the light of divine being, the impulses just can't be the expression of love without those really no freedom without those stepping back and letting the divine move in us freely as us. I don't know exactly how that works. I just just love be what it is, accept the miracle. Thank you, Jesus, and my brothers for joining and for clarifying all these things, these ideas that I thought I had about atonement, miracle impulses, and how valuable they are not to divert from all that's given. Amen. Love to all. Thank you for bringing the light here, the light.